What if the very thing you chase, the ultimate symbol of success, becomes the catalyst for your darkest undoing? Money isn't just a tool. For some, it becomes a force, an intoxicant stronger than any substance known to man. And if the last few years have shown us anything, it's this: wealth doesn't always reveal character. Sometimes it erodes it. Take the recent scandals rocking headlines in late 2024 and early 2025. A celebrated tech mogul, once praised as a genius, caught running privacy-breaching surveillance through his own platform for research. A hedge fund titan indicted for dodging taxes through a maze of offshore shells while giving keynote speeches about responsibility. Each story different yet oddly familiar. Because their downfall didn't start with the crime. It started with a shift, a whisper that grew louder with every billion earned. You're too powerful to be touched. It's the psychological metamorphosis experts call the God complex, the belief that money can bend outcomes, silence critics, or erase consequences. At first, it feels like control, but soon it becomes something much darker, a hunger, a belief that the world exists to serve them, and that they exist above the rules everyone else must live by. But this phenomenon isn't new. History is full of men who climbed so high they could no longer see the ground beneath them. The Gilded Age robber barons who crushed workers to build railroads and refineries. Industrial giants who poisoned towns while marketing themselves as saviors. And now, modern philanthropists whose charity foundations shine bright, while quietly masking scandals, infidelity, exploitation, or personal empires built on questionable practices. It's the same story repeating in different centuries. Because wealth has a strange side effect. It can disconnect you from the struggles that ground you. When every need is met instantly, empathy becomes optional. Those around the ultra-rich begin to applaud rather than question. Employees echo approval. Advisors filter information. Friends aren't really friends anymore, they're beneficiaries, and so a once principled person begins bending rules just a little, cutting corners just this one time, convincing themselves that the ends justify the means because everyone does it at the top, but the slope is slippery. And before long, bending turns to breaking, laws, promises, relationships. Success becomes less about building something meaningful and more about staying ahead of the consequences. For many who rise to extraordinary wealth, the cracks don't show first in their companies or public image. They show at home, families split by greed, marriage vows shattered by betrayal, children who grow up with drivers, chefs, and tutors, but without present parents. One of the most telling stories from recent years involved a millionaire real estate developer who spent decades chasing just one more deal. His empire grew, but so did the distance from his wife and eventually his children. What he didn't realize until it was too late was that while he was building towers, his foundation was collapsing. His daughter later said, "My father had a penthouse view of the world, but no idea what was happening in his own living room." Public reputation can crumble just as quickly. Because here's the truth, even $1 billion can't buy back trust once it's broken. No donation, no PR firm, no heartfelt apology can fully erase the stain of corruption or cruelty. And yet, these individuals keep chasing more money, more influence, more power. Why? Psychologists call it the phantom chase, the idea that once wealth becomes your identity, enough stops existing. The moment you reach the peak, you start looking for another mountain. But every mountain comes with a cost. The irony is painful. The people who have the most often feel the least free. We picture the ultra-rich living glamorous lives, private jets, massive estates, all the luxuries money can buy. But behind that image is a quieter reality, loneliness, paranoia. A life lived behind cameras, gates, and layers of security. A world where every new connection comes with a question: do they care about me or my money? A billionaire once said, "At some point you stop building walls to keep danger out and start realizing you've locked yourself inside." And that's the paradox. The bubble of exclusivity feels safe, but it also suffocates. Many of the wealthy live in constant fear, fear of losing it all, fear of being exposed, fear of betrayal, fear that someone, somewhere wants to use them. So they isolate, they withdraw, they trade real connection for controlled environments and curated relationships. It is a golden cage, expensive, gorgeous, and unbearably quiet. But here's what matters most. Not everyone chooses the dark path. Not everyone lets wealth corrupt them. Some take a different route, like the tech founder who sold his company and devoted the rest of his life to building low-cost housing. Or the investor who gave away half his net worth, quietly, anonymously, to rebuild schools, fund therapy programs, and support veterans. Or the young crypto millionaire who realized early that if money becomes your purpose, you'll never stop feeling empty. What changed for them? A shift in mindset. A realization that legacy is not measured in the number of digits in a bank account, but in the impact left on people. They found meaning not in accumulating, but in deploying wealth wisely, ethically, purposefully. They discovered that fulfillment doesn't come from what you own, but what you uplift, what you build, who you help. And maybe that's the lesson we all need, whether we have millions or barely enough to get by. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't inherently corrupting. Unchecked wealth is. Wealth without accountability, without self-reflection, without compassion. So here's the final question. What defines true wealth? Is it the mansions, the power, the access, the insulation from consequences, or is it the ability to stay human, to stay grounded, while holding immense power? The truth is simple but profound. Money doesn't change people. It amplifies who they already are. It can magnify generosity or expose selfishness. It can build communities or destroy families. It can fund innovation or feed corruption. In the end, every wealthy individual faces a choice: use their resources to elevate themselves or to elevate the world around them. And perhaps the greatest legacy anyone can leave is not measured in dollars, but in dignity. Because when wealth is guided by integrity, it becomes a force for good. But when it's guided by impulse, it becomes the very thing that destroys.